Edward Snowden is back in the news. He's a Russian what? Welcome to the revolution. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. Please share this on social media platforms. I would greatly appreciate it. Hope you're having a fantastic day. But Vladimir Putin grants Russian citizenship to former U.S. security contractor. His name is Edward Snowden. Who is Edward Snowden? Oh, why, he's the guy that told all us U.S. citizens that our privacies were being violated by the U.S. government. As Glenn Greenwald tweets out, who's totally a white supremacist because he goes on Tucker Carlson. Oh my God, he's a grifter. God. Glenn Greenwald tweets out, a reminder, U.S. courts repeatedly ruled the programs Edward Snowden disclosed to us and enabled to us to report were, and I quote, unconstitutional and illegal violations of Americans' privacy acts. Oh, so as this guy perfectly tweets out, Matt Ho, for Senate, the crime, and in quotes, the crime committed by Edward Snowden and Julian Assange was letting the people know what our government was doing. The ongoing persecution is a national disgrace, but, you know, because he's now a Russian citizen, the left has to pile on. What's their joke of the day? Oh my God, Putin must be getting desperate for the draft. Oh my God. At one point, will Putin conscript Snowden to fight in Ukraine? He's at the right age and more fit than some of these guys. They must really need soldiers. Does this mean he can be drafted? LOL. God. Look, he's right there. Oh my God, it's Donald Trump making out with Putin. It's just, God, the left is just so predictable. There's no like reflection or like, maybe we shouldn't be for this. Maybe like the government spying on U.S. citizens is not a good thing. Maybe giving up safety for freedom is not a good thing and doesn't really result in a lot of things we want in our future or for our future generations. But I digress. Right now, Glenn Greenwald is bad because he's a Russian citizenship now. Why don't you just come back to America and get prosecuted? God. He should be hailed as a hero. A country that is founded over freedom and tyranny should be hailing this man as a freaking hero. But because he went against the U.S. government, it makes sense why the left hate him. Why? Because the state is always right. And we need to get rid of all of these people who don't agree with how we believe. That's why they're clapping every time they see one of those January 6ers, even if she's 96 years old and just walked up and down the stairs and walked out. Get her, put her in jail for the rest of her life. She is disgusting. She probably doesn't even have pronouns in her bio. And I hate that. Get rid of these people. Any means necessary. Go after them. Spy on them. Tap their phones. The left is all about violence and they're all about power. They pretend like the right is what the right's about, but they, as an abuser always does, and the abuser says exactly what they're doing to the abused, but then calls the abused doing exactly the opposite to them. That's why an abusive person will hit somebody and say, well, you made me hit you. It's your fault in the end. Even though you're the victim, somehow the abuser is the victim. Right now, we have our U.S. Congress reaching a preliminary agreement to provide another $12 billion in new assistance to Ukraine. So we'll get rid of our whistleblowers, as we're having more and more whistleblowers, even in the FBI, come out and say, hey, guess what? The U.S. government is pushing me to look into white supremacy, even though there isn't any anywhere, and they're creating a bigger division over it, and they're taking me off cases that have to do with child trafficking, and putting me on cases that have to do with white supremacists and ultra MAGAs everywhere. This should perk your ears up. It should be like an Edward Snowden 3.0. Hey, why are you looking into this? I've never actually met a white supremacist. Are you even talking about white supremacists? Or are you just talking about people that want freedom? People that are more conservative, people that lean on the right, people that are libertarian. Get rid of those people. They don't fit our model. They must be forced into submission. In fact, I know you see your American streets littered and filled with crime, filled with open air drug use, that you don't feel safe where you are. Maybe you're poor. Maybe you're looking at the housing market and you're dreaming of one day owning a house, one day owning an apartment, one day owning a condo. And you just feel like, I just can't see it as inflation continues to rise. And there are now talks that they're finally openly admitting that this recession is going to be way worse than 2008. And Biden says, inflation is my number one priority. As our U.S. Congress, who doesn't care about you, they don't. They're getting ready to send another $12 billion in new assistance to Ukraine. As I did on my show just last week, Biden says, whatever it takes. It's a blank check. He doesn't have that same energy for you and me. And I don't want that energy in the government. I'm sick of the government overspending and spending ridiculous amounts. I saw this weekend too that Biden is planning on sending $11 billion to poorer countries to help fight climate change. $11 billion. Is money not real to these people? Doesn't seem like it. We are farther apart than we've ever been as a country, and I don't see it getting closer. The people that should be hailed as victors and heroes, like Edward Snowden, that have, are looking after the little man. Those are the people that people want to go after. People that want to push for freedom, care about you and your well-being, that one day you can live the American dream. Those are the people that are mocked. Those are the people that are hailed as fascists or Nazis or racist or homophobes by our corporate press and politicians alike. It's gotten to the point now where it just we have to be paying attention. You have to be paying attention to this stuff because it just seems like everything's bottling up to a culminant, like a boiling point. Now, what happened in Italy today is like a sign of like some kind of relief because it goes against the globalist narrative. And that's why they're calling her far right, because they have no other speech. They have no other category for a woman that, especially a woman that goes against the narrative, goes against the grain, goes against the left. They have no idea what to do with her. So they just call her fascist, Mussolini, far right. That's all they can say. That's why they look at Edward Snowden. Oh, you're in Russia? Oh, okay. You're basically a fascist. You're basically Nazi. You're basically pro-Putin. Or maybe he's so freaked out of his life, he doesn't trust the U.S. government because he knows the U.S. government would probably try to kill him. I think as I grow up, it's funny how I believe that we lived in this free country. Yes, it might be more free than a lot of countries in the world, but it's not. And the people that want freedom for us, that want freedom for you and me, are pushed as Nazis, fascists, freaks, stupid, psychopaths. Every time I listen to a leftist or some critical thinker on the left talk about Trump, it's like all he does is lie. Really? What are the lies? Yeah, I don't even need to get into it. Okay. So we're basically at a point now where you don't even have to explain yourself as long as if you fit the narrative. Like if you go against the grain, if you're a moderate in any capacity, you're basically pro-Putin, pro-fascist, and it's just you let me know your thoughts on this. Please let me know your thoughts on Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden, Julian Assange. You would think especially the journalist community, people in news, they would hail these people as victors, as heroes, but instead they pretend like they don't exist, or they make them seem like they are part of the fringe. When they are watching the fringe, the insanity happen, and they're like, oh crap, we need to call this out because this is insane. We're in a society now where it's you're better off just keeping your mouth shut. But there are some people in the world like myself that can't. I hope you have a great day. Check out my next video. Subscribe to my podcast. Tell your friends about the Derek O'Shea Show. Bye.